There's an oil you've probably heard mentioned in the same breath as old furniture, art supplies, or please don't leave those rags in a pile. Yet almost nobody can clearly explain what it actually is. It hardens, but it starts as a liquid. It's natural, but it behaves like something invented in a lab. And despite sounding incredibly boring, it has caused fires, confusion, and centuries of chemical curiosity. I'm Professor Everything, and today we'll be answering the question, what exactly is linseed oil? Right here on Explaining Everything. At its core, linseed oil comes from flax seeds. That's it. No secret animals, no mysterious rocks. Just a plant that humans figured out how to squeeze really hard. When flax seeds are pressed, the oil that comes out is linseed oil. Now here's where expectations get shattered. Most oils are, well, oily. They stay slippery. They stain your shirt and then emotionally abandon you. Linseed oil does something completely different. Linseed oil is classified as a drying oil, which is one of the most misleading names in chemistry. It doesn't dry because the liquid disappears. It dries because it reacts with oxygen and turns into a solid. That's not evaporation. That's a chemical transformation. The reason this happens is molecular. Linseed oil is loaded with polyunsaturated fatty acids, especially alpha-linolenic acid. These molecules have multiple double bonds, and those bonds love reacting with oxygen. Once exposed to air, the molecules begin linking together in long chains, forming a solid network. So linseed oil doesn't dry. It locks in, like a liquid deciding it's time to settle down and become responsible. Here's where linseed oil gets weird in a way that makes chemists smile and firefighters sigh. When linseed oil is spread thin, oxygen can reach a lot of it at once. That speeds up a process called oxidative polymerization, where the oil molecules bond together into a hardened film. Thicker blobs cure slowly. Thin layers cure faster. Same oil, different outcomes. This process also gives off heat. Not a lot, but enough to matter. If linseed oil soaks into something porous like cloth, the increased surface area allows oxygen to react rapidly. That heat builds up. In rare cases, it builds up too much. That's why oily rags soaked with linseed oil can spontaneously combust if improperly stored, which is an incredible sentence to exist in real life. Few substances can casually sit on a workbench and go, actually, I've decided this is a fire now. So yes, linseed oil hardens when exposed to air. And yes, it can be a little dramatic about it. Now, let's talk about one of history's most confusing product names, boiled linseed oil. Originally, linseed oil really was boiled, often with metal compounds added, to speed up the curing process. Today, boiled linseed oil is usually not boiled at all. Instead, it contains small amounts of metallic dryers that accelerate oxidation. Raw linseed oil cures very slowly. We're talking days or even weeks. Boiled linseed oil cures much faster, sometimes within hours. Same base oil, completely different timeline. This naming confusion has survived for centuries purely because humans hate changing labels. At some point, everyone collectively agreed, yes, this is misleading, but we're tired. Despite the name, both versions behave the same way chemically. Oxygen comes in, molecules link up, and the oil becomes solid. Boiled linseed oil just does it like it's late for an appointment. Linseed oil has been around for thousands of years, dating back to ancient civilizations that cultivated flax. Long before humans understood chemistry, they noticed something important. This oil didn't stay liquid forever. In a world without synthetic polymers, that was huge. A substance that could be spread easily and then harden on its own was basically magic, except repeatable, predictable magic. Linseed oil became one of the earliest examples of humans working with chemical reactions instead of against them. No fire needed, no complex tools, just time, air, and patience. Even as modern chemistry evolved, linseed oil never disappeared. When a material solves a problem cleanly and reliably, it sticks around, sometimes literally. Linseed oil is flaxseed oil with a chemical superpower. It's a liquid that reacts with oxygen to become a solid, forming natural polymers long before humans knew what polymers were. It's simple, reactive, slightly dangerous if disrespected, and remarkably elegant. It breaks our expectations of what oils are supposed to do, which is why it keeps confusing people centuries later. So the next time you hear the phrase linseed oil, you won't just think of something old-fashioned or dusty. You'll know it's one of the earliest examples of chemistry quietly doing something incredible, and occasionally trying to start a fire while it's at it. If you learn something new about linseed oil, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe you too have something more than the surface. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.